Operating a shotgun mic on a boom pole is also very challenging, not only because it requires holding the pole over your head for extended periods of time while keeping absolutely still, but also because it requires intense concentration and focus on the scene. Now, while it's true that a shotgun mic can record sounds from a distance, the quality of the sound does diminish significantly the farther away you are. So your first goal is still to get that mic as close as possible to the subject's mouth. You'll be able to get a lot closer during close-ups than during wide shots, and that's okay. Your editor's likely aware of that fact, and so she's going to try and use the audio from the close-ups whenever possible. However, within a given take, it's important that you keep the mic a constant distance from the subject. Otherwise, the sound quality and the volume are going to vary over the course of the shot, which is undesirable. Also remember that the mic is highly directional. You need to point the tip of the mic towards the mouth of whoever's speaking, not at the top of their head, not in their general direction,
oh my God, that's such great news!
but at their mouth.
It's my sister. She's moving out.
What? Oh my God, that's such great news!
It really matters a lot. And you need to have the mic in position before they start talking. Otherwise, we'll hear the sound quality change as the mic comes into place.
She's moving out.
What? Yeah. Oh my God, that's such great news!
And this is really where things get tricky, because in most scenes, more than one person is talking, which means you have to move the mic from one person to the other during the scene. So to boom properly, you need to know exactly who's going to say what, when, and you need to get your mic into position in time to hear what they're going to say. So how do you know when to be where? From watching the rehearsal. It's essential for the boom op to be present in the rehearsal, and in fact, the better you know the exact rhythm of the scene, the better. I've known boom ops who study the script as much as the actors do. Moving the boom around silently and with precision is an art unto itself as well. Rubbing your fingers along the pole can create audible noise. If the cable is swinging around and banging against the pole, that causes noise too. And different boom operators have different techniques, and yet again, this is one more place where the quality of your equipment does matter. Using a high-quality, lightweight boom pole with an internal cable is definitely going to make your job a lot easier than working with a heavy, clumsy pole with an external cable. Every gram of weight matters. If you do have an external cable, you'll want to wrap your fingers gently around it to keep it in place while you record. And one trick to keep from making noise as you move the pole is to rock it gently in the crook of your thumb and forefinger. That way, by rocking your hand back and forth, you can move it from one subject to another with minimal noise and movement. Practice this movement to get more comfortable with it, and be sure to wear headphones while you do, so you can hear when your movements create unwanted noise. There's also a whole other thing that makes this job super hard. You've got to keep the mic, the boom pole, its shadow, and your own body out of the view of the camera. And of course, you usually can't see what the camera's seeing, which makes this goal extremely challenging. You're going to need to work with the camera operator to figure out how close you can position the mic to the subject's mouth without being seen in the frame.
Boom in. Up, 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 and you're clear frame. Thank you.
And again, this is another important reason to have time to rehearse prior to shooting. Dip the mic in as close as possible and then back it out slowly until the camera operator tells you that you're clear. Then, hold that position and then look at the wall or background behind the mic and draw an imaginary line where your mic appears against that wall. That way, during the scene, you can use that line as a guide for where your mic should be positioned. This is also why it's almost always necessary to hold the pole parallel to the floor above your head, as opposed to at an angle from your waist. The latter is, of course, more comfortable, but the angled pole is far more likely to be seen in the shot. It's also important to think about where you should stand. The farther away you are, the longer you'll have to extend your pole, which means a heavier weight for you to hold up. Sometimes you may want to stand on an apple box or a chair to help you get higher. For shots where there's a lot of movement in the scene, think about where you can stand that's going to allow you to move and follow the talent as required. You may occasionally be tempted to boom from below the camera line instead of above. There are times that that's okay, but pay attention to what's behind the subject and still in the path of the microphone's pickup pattern. Pointing upwards towards a ceiling with an air vent or towards the sky is usually more likely to introduce unwanted noise than pointing downwards towards the ground. And finally, accept that you're just not always going to be able to get great sound on every angle, especially on wider shots where it's just impossible to get close enough to the subject. As long as you can get good sound on those closer angles, all should be okay. Just be sure to let the director know, and in some cases you may want to record a wild take to give the editor additional options.